Hello, Team Impact. Shooting my morning video here for you for lesson 3. So we're still in unit 2. We're in fractions, but we're lesson 3. We're talking today about multiplying some fractions. I'm going to kind of skip over this to save a little bit of time. We're going to slide down here to the vocab, okay? In order to multiply fractions and mixed numbers, each number must be written as a proper or improper. All right, improper fraction. So a proper fraction would be 1/2. An improper fraction would be 5/3, where the numerator is greater than the denominator. Mixed numbers must be converted to improper fractions, and whole numbers must be written over 1. Okay, over 1. So if I have a mixed number of 4.5, I multiply and I add. 2 times 4 is 8 plus 1 is 9, and that equals 9 seconds to get to the improper. We can't multiply a mixed number. And then if you just have a whole number, you can always put that over 1 as a fraction. Okay. All right, steps for multiplying fractions. All right, change each mixed number to an improper. Okay. We're going to multiply the numerators, and we're going to multiply the denominators. So unlike adding and subtracting, where we just added the numerators and the denominators stayed the same, we're going to multiply both and then simplify. Okay. So if we looked at this, this would be 2 times 4, and this would be 3 times 5. Okay. So 2 times 4 is 8, and 3 times 5 is 15. I check it out. That can't be simplified, right? Multiplying fractions is fun because it's a lot easier and a lot less work than adding and subtracting. 6 times 2 is 18. 6 times 2 is 12. Hello, Friday. And 7 times 7 is 49. And that is simplified. Okay, so again, pretty easy stuff. Now, let's flip it over, or of course, it's going to get a little bit more involved, okay? So, common factors between fractions can be simplified. Oops, sorry about that. Simplified. Before or after multiplying. Okay. So what we do is we're going to call this factoring, all right? And what we're going to look for is the same number on the top and bottom, or two numbers in the top and the bottom that have a common factor. So, for example, if I have 2/3 times 3/4, I can factor these out. 3 divided by 3 is 1, and 3 divided by 3 is 1. Okay? And then what is common with 2 and 4? Well, they're both divisible by 2. So we can divide both of these by 2. 2 divided by 2 is 1, and 4 divided by 2 is 2. I have nothing but ones on the top. So therefore, I'm just going to multiply through, and I'm going to end up with a half. Okay? This is generally a lot easier to do than the second way, as simplifying at the end. And what do you mean? Well, I mean this. 2 times 3 is 6, and 3 times 4 is 12, right? This is not simplified, all right? And again, this isn't a bad fraction to simplify because it's pretty simple. But 6 divided by 6 is 1, and 12 divided by 6 is 2. So that goes down to a half. So either way is really okay. But this way, when you get 1, 2, 3, or 5 fractions, it's going to be a lot easier because you won't end up with these big numbers. Let's continue on, okay? And let's work this factoring technique. All right, 4/9 times 3/4. First thing I look for is the same number top and bottom. And I see that scenario right here. So 4 divided by 4 is 1. 4 divided by 4 is 1. I'm just factoring out. I'm dividing both of these by 4, okay? And then I come to the 3, and the common factor both 3 and 9 have is 3. 3 divided by 3 is 1. 9 divided by 3 is 3. 1 times 1 is 1. 3 times 1 is 3. And bang, Bob's your uncle right there. Okay? So it's a lot easier to factor at the beginning than at the end. Okay? Let's continue on. Number 5. So number 5 is the first time that we have some mixed numbers. And the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to take these mixed numbers into improper fractions. And how do you do that? Well, you multiply and you add. 2 times 2 is 4 plus 1 is 5. The denominator stays the same. A dot means to multiply. 3 times 5 is 15 plus 3 is 18 over 5. So these are improper because the top number is greater than the bottom. Now, at this point, I can do my factoring. I see the same number top and bottom. I'm going to factor out of 5. And again, when you see that same number, just cross them off and put ones. Now, what is common between 2 and 18? Well, 2. 2 divided by 2 is 1. 18 divided by 2 is 9. We have nothing but ones on the bottom. Let's go ahead and multiply through. 9 over 1 equals 9. And we just write it as 9. Okay? So there's some math there that we had to take a look at. Okay? And I again, if you remember from the beginning class, that's what I started with on the whiteboards. Okay. Number 6. A recipe requires 2.5 cups of sugar. If Mrs. Marina is going to make 1/2 of the recipe, then how much sugar will she need? So we're going to take 1/2 of. Of means to multiply. 2.5. Okay? So when I see this word of, that means I'm going to multiply. Well, this is already a simple fraction, so I'm going to rewrite it. And I'm going to change this to an improper. Remember, we multiply and add. 4, and that's 5 over 2. All right. No numbers can be factored out. We're not allowed to factor bottom to bottom or top to top. So 1 times 5 is 5. 2 times 2 is 4. Now, the only thing that we can do to a fraction is divide it. It is a division problem. A fraction's a fancy way to write that division problem. So we're going to chop it down. I get 1. 1 is my numerator. My denominator doesn't change. So it's 1 1/4 cups of sugar. Okay? And please make sure you label. Number 7. A rectangle has a height of 1 1/4 inches and a base of 5/6 inches. What is the area? So it's a rectangle. And by definition, area is length times width on a 4-sided figure. Okay? On a rectangle, on a square, it will work on a parallelogram. It'll work on a rhombus. It won't work on a trapezoid. That's a different formula. But that's down the line. So we're going to take 1 1/4, and we're going to multiply it by 5/6. I'm going to change 1 1/4 to 5/4, and I'm going to multiply that by 5/6. Okay? Nothing can be factored, but remember, we're not allowed to go top to top. So 25 24s. Now, this is a scenario that I want you to try to do this mentally, okay? And what I mean by mentally is 24 goes into 25 one time. 25 minus 24 is 1, and the denominator won't change. So, and that's 1 1/24 inches square. Area is always in square units. We'll get into more of that later. Okay. So, should be feeling pretty good. All right. It's a little bit easier than the adding and subtracting. All right. Let's take a look at number 8. 4 students were given a card with a fraction on it. They were asked to pair up with another student and multiply the fractions. Okay. When Omar and Andre multiplied their fractions, Omar, 1 3/4, Andre, 1 5/6, they got a product greater than 4. True or false? Well, let's see. This is going to be 7/4 times 11/6. Remember, we multiply and add. Top to bottom combination, there is none. 7 times 11 is 77. 4 is 24. Again, we're looking to chop this down, okay? And that is 77. Now, does this go into this 4 times? They want to know if it's a greater than 4. Well, let's see. 24 times 4 is 16, carry the 1, 8. It's too big, so it's going to be 3. Okay, it's going to be 3. So 3 times 4 is 12, carry the 1, 6, and that's 7. And that ends up being 3 and 5, 24ths. So the answer is false. And since I used that, let's skip that one. Last one is letter C. See, 3 and 5, 24ths is less than 4. When Ellie and Omar multiplied their fraction cards, their solution was between 2 and 3. All right. Ellie had 2 and 2/7. And Omar had 1 and 3/4. Pause the video and go ahead and give it a shot. So if you just turn the video back on, you can see that this is 14 and 2 is 16/7 times, all right, 7/4. Okay, 4 times 1. Now, here's a scenario. Oh, this is going to be nice. 7 goes into 7 once. 7 goes into 7 once. You see, when we can factor, we don't get these big numbers on the back end. Okay, 4 and 16 are compatible. Yes, they are. 4 goes into 4 once. 4 goes into 16 4 times. 4 over 1 equals 4. Does it? No, that's another false. It's greater than 3. So anyway, okay. So just to keep moving in the right direction here, our homework tonight is 1 through 9. Then you're going to, once you find your answers, you're going to put this down. And what do you get when you divide the circumference of a jack-o'-lantern by its diameter? What are you going to get? Well, you're going to find out. Okay. Homework. Now, we probably are going to have some type of quiz on Monday. I'll talk to you about that in class today. So if you're watching this again, so keep an eye out for that on Monday if you're at home. Have a good weekend. Bye-bye.